Hi everyone and welcome to my channel. It's all about the books. I'm so happy that you could join me on my introductory video. I'm going to let you know a little bit about myself and what I enjoy reading. So I'm so happy that you found me on this little corner of Booktube, and I hope that we can get lots of reading and lots of chatting of books done together. And so today I just wanted to tell you a little bit about my reading and what I enjoy reading and a little bit about me, so that you can feel like when you come and listen to the videos that you're listening to a friend chat about books, and that you will feel comfortable in giving me some of your recommendations, because that's another reason I'm here. I want to read all the books and I don't want to miss out on any great books that will be coming out in the future. So without further ado, let's talk about what I enjoy reading. So I've always enjoyed a good mystery thriller book. I like a whodunit. I like the cozies. I like the thrillers. I enjoy, from Carolyn Keane's Nancy Drew to Riley Sager's Who Is Up There, to James Patterson books, to Lee Child books. I enjoy a good Mary Higgins Clark. I enjoy a great Agatha Christie and some cozier mysteries also. But lately I've been really into the suspense thrillers. So yeah, that's one of the genres I mainly go towards. I also like a good romance. I enjoy reading middle grade, and that helps me in my work because part of my job is recommending books to younger readers. I enjoy a good YA, and I enjoy some contemporary women's fiction as well. So I hope that if you found me, that those are types of books that you enjoy reading and you'll come along for the ride. But just so I can let you know what I really enjoy reading, I'm gonna let you know of a few books that have been my favorites over the last little while. I didn't get them all read in 2024. Some of my favorite 2023 reads, and so let's go. So one of the first ones, and I actually read this one last week, and it's like one of my new favorites, and it's None of This Is True by Lisa Jewell. And so this is a mystery thriller, and it is really interesting because it's all by date, so you can see the progression of the story, and it talks about podcasts, and this person gets very interested in the podcaster, and too interested, and you see the point of view of our main protagonist, Aunt Alex, and she's the one who does the podcast, and so you see how she starts noticing things, and then you get the story through the podcast too, which is really good. It's a really good thriller. It kept me on the edge of my seat, kept me wanting to look for more. So yeah, that's one of my favorites. The chair beside me here is holding the books. Now, another great read and an author that I really enjoy reading is Riley Sager, and this one, The Only One Left. I think it came out last year, and I read it as soon as it came out, and I really, really, really enjoyed it. So The Only One Left is another example of the type of books that I like reading. Now, another Lisa Jewell, The Family Upstairs. Oh my goodness, I read this. I started listening to it on audiobook at the gym, and then I ended up getting the physical copy because I just wanted to hold it and read it, and amazing. And also Hannah Morrissey's When I'm Dead. I didn't realize it was the second one in the series, I think, but it was a really good mystery. I really enjoyed it. It had to do with a detective, Rowan, and she investigates the death of her daughter's best friend, and it's all, how is her daughter implicated? How is she implicated? Her daughter's also missing. What's going on? So it was a really good read. Kept me on my toes. Now, the one on the wall there, The Last Time I Lied by Riley Sager was also a good mystery thriller. and What Lies in the Woods, also by Kate Alice Marshall, was also another really good thriller book. So that's the type of thriller books that I'm going towards. I also enjoy Peter Swanson. I enjoy reading Mary Higgins Clark, the cozier type of mysteries. So I'm quite rounded in my mystery thriller reading. So the next type of book that I enjoy reading is kind of a romancy contemporary women's fiction novel. So one of the latest ones that I read that I really liked was The Island Villa by Sarah Morgan. And it's such a nice read. It was quite cozy. It kind of took me to Greece because this is where it's set in. And it's about this romance author, Catherine Swift. And she's written romance novels forever. And she's popular. And she's like a prolific author. She just puts the books out. And everybody thinks she has her whole life all put together. But things are not always as they seem. And then we're also introduced to her daughter, Adeline. And then she gets a letter that her mom is getting her married. So she has hard feelings with her mom. So it's all the intertwining of the stories together. The two daughters, Addie and Cassie, how they interact with their mom and how they all come together and what happens. Really nice story set in Greece. You get a lot of vibes for travel. And look at this cover. So cute. Love it. Okay, so that's the first one. Then I Always Like Me, Ellen Hildebrand. And this one, The 5-Star Weekend, I read last year. And I really, really enjoyed it. So it's about this woman, Holly Shaw. Her life seems picture perfect. But of course, things start falling apart. And it's all about how she's going to put the pieces to get... how she's going to put all the pieces back together. And does she really want the life that she had before, or does she want something different? So really nice read again. Then of course, many people know Abby Jimenez. So she's another one of my auto-buy authors that anytime anything comes out from these authors, I'm gonna probably end up reading in some way, shape, or form. So this one is Yours Truly, and it went around the internet quite a bit last year, and it's about this Dr. Brianna, and she's up for a promotion, and the doctor that she thinks is quite cute but also annoying is also up for the same promotion, and he just moved to town. So it's all how they get to know each other and they get to be friends and who gets the job and what happens. I don't want to tell you too much because it's kind of fun to go in blind. The next one, so that's an example. And I also read Susan Wigg's book, The Lost and Found Bookshop, which is also a contemporary book. It has some romance in it, and it's a book about books. So yeah, really like that one too. Okay. So we've covered mystery, thriller, and romance. So the next genre we're going to talk about is historical fiction. This is another one of my truly favorites. I don't think I can choose between these genres. So some of the favorite historical fiction books that I've read over the last little while, one of them is The Book Thief by Marcus Zuzak, and I really enjoyed this book. It was one of my favorite reads of 2022, I think, and I still think about it. Now, the next one, I read this one, I think it was last year for, I followed Historical Fiction Month when was it November? And I read The Paris Library by Janet Skelsian Charles, and it was dual timeline, which I really like dual timeline. And it's about a library in Paris and how they're trying to save the books. And the protagonist that we meet in the 1939, we also, end up knowing about her later on in the book in one way, shape, or form. and all the characters intertwine, and it's such a great book about books and gives you a little taste of what it may have been like back then. Then the next historical fiction that I read last year, sorry the cover got mangled, The Girl with the Louding Voice by Abi Dare, and I got this secondhand, so it's a little worse for wear, but what a book. It was one of those books that when I read it, I literally wanted to throw it across the room because it was so upsetting and emotional. But I really enjoyed it and I recommend it. But please check the trigger warnings if you're going to read it because it's a heavy hitting book. The next book I read was from another one of my favorite authors, Kristen Hanna, and I read The Women, and I think it just came out this year. Everything blurs after a while. I'm looking for yeah, I think it was this year. Yeah, 2024. Yeah, so this is The Women by Kristen Hanna, and I'm sure you've heard about it. It's been very popular. And it's about Frankie, or Frances McGrath, and she is a nurse, a very young nurse in Southern California, and she is going to take part in the Vietnam War. And it's all her story, and some parts I could have done without, but I realize it's probably actually what happened in those days. So I really, really enjoyed it, and I will read things that Kristen Hanna puts out for sure. So another one of my favorite authors. The last historical fiction book I have on my list, but I mean I read a lot of it, is Kristen Harmel's The Paris Daughter. Now I enjoyed this one. I read it last year. I cried a few tears, and although I kind of guessed the trajectory of the story as I was reading it, I still really, really enjoyed it and fell in love with the characters. And as always, once I pick up a Kristen Hanna or a Kristen Harmel book, I cannot put them down, and I almost want to read it in one go. So yeah, very good historical fiction authors that I really enjoy. So next we're going to talk about YA. So I have two that kind of represents a lot of my YA reading. I'm not a great big YA reader, but I have read some. So I have two physical ones, and one I forgot, so I'll just put a picture of it after. And the first one is the Cinder series, so the actually Lunar Chronicles series by Marissa Meyer. The first book here is Cinder, and I read all of them, and they're not small books. They get bigger as the series goes along, but they're so good. If you like YA and you like fantasy, pick these up. They're like a take on or a retelling of the fairy tales. Like this Cinder is a retelling of a Cinderella story, and I really, really enjoyed it. Oh my goodness, yes. So cute. Who would have thought? I would not have thought that I would have liked it. Honestly. Because, you know, cyborgs and all that, not really my jam, but presented in this way with a little love story and the underdog comes back, totally my kind of book. So, Cinder, Marissa Meyer. Now, the next one, I love me a good game. I love board games. I like playing cards, all of that stuff. So, The Inheritance Games by Jennifer Lynn Burns. This is also a 4-book series, 3-book series. So, I read The Inheritance Games. Then I also read the next book, which is The Inheritance Games, The Hawthorne Legacy, and then The Final Gambit. I also read that one. And then I have the Hawthorne Brothers on my shelf, which I have not read yet, which I hope to get to very soon. So, The Inheritance Games series by Jennifer Lynn Burns. I also read another Jennifer Lynn Burns that I really, really enjoyed as well. Now, let's go to middle grade. And these are just a few because I read a lot of middle grade for work and everything. So I really enjoyed The One and Only Ivan by Catherine Applegate. I will read whatever Catherine Applegate writes. I will gobble up. So this one has the Newbery award. And yeah, it totally deserves it. So, a very cute book. And then, of course, Matilda, a book about a little girl who loves books by Roald Dahl. Totally, oh, my glasses match the book. Totally my cup of tea. You see, I tabbed it up so I could share it with my students, and I read it with a few of my students, and we all love to hate the parents in this, and we love that the little girl loved to read books. So that one was a keeper, and I will probably reread it in middle grade March of next year because I don't mind a reread. Now, I also liked Fish in a Tree by Linda Mullally Hunt, and this is about a girl named Allie, and she has a hard time reading. And so she does all these things to get away from reading until one teacher kind of goes, something's going on. So the teacher digs a little deeper and figures it out. And will they be able to help Allie? What do you think? It's a middle grade. So that is the middle grade. Now let's go straight into some classic literature that I like. Now, I'm not big on classics. I read Emma. I really liked it, by Jane Austen. I read Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen. Really liked them as well. One of my favorites of all time is To Kill a Mockingbird by Harper Lee. And I read it in high school, and then I reread it last April when I had COVID. So I reread it, and I still like it. Wonderful. And one of my favorite reads that I've read recently is The Secret Garden by Frances Hodgson Burnett. So I really enjoyed this book. And I'm not big on classic literature, but this one was a great one. So sweet. I loved it. So those are the types of books that I like to read. I have plans to read lots more books during the year. And I always like finding out about new authors. And I like playing games, so I'm thinking up of a TBR game. Although you're going to probably find out I'm not great at following my TBRs, but I try my best. So, if you enjoy this kind of video, if you like getting recommendations about all kinds of different genres, or there's a specific genre that you like, I will always try to put some good headings so that you know what's coming up. And please join me for some fun books, some light reading, some harder hitting reading, some bookish games that we'll do, and setting out TBRs, doing book hauls, seeing what we can accomplish together, and talking about some awesome books. So thank you guys for watching, and please like and subscribe to the channel, and I'll come back to you hopefully once or twice a week. So bye for now, and I'll see you next time.